So welcome to Two Dogs Games video log. I'm Ken Hall. I'm the creative director and founder of Two Dogs Games, and I'm here with Charles Wright, who's the co-founder of Two Dogs Games. So Charles, tell me a little bit about how you came to be involved with the company.
So, it all started back at that picnic not too far from where we're sitting right now. And it was just, we were talking about how all these video games we grew up playing and how we just love video games. And you're talking about this great idea you had. And to me, it sounded too great to be true, and I didn't know if it was ever going to happen. And it's just been so great that everything's been able to come together so quickly, and that we're able to do this great project.
Tell me about some of the games you've loved in the past. You play a lot of Arma yourself, right?
Oh, I play a lot of Arma right now, but I've grew up playing so many games. I grew up playing GoldenEye, Command & Conquer, Command & Conquer Generals, just so many of the real-time strategy and the first-person shooters. And this is just such a natural fit with all the games I've played in the past. I think from both of our pasts, we have quite a connection to veterans. And I think this is where you got a lot of this idea from, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, certainly on some of the games I worked on in the past, we had a lot of, time working with the veterans, a lot of exposure. So, whether it was working with Andy McNabb, former SAS soldier and author on Team SAS, or whether it was working with, the World War II aviators on B-17. We did a lot of studying, obviously watching all the research material, the movies, the books, that sort of thing. And it became very obvious that the Hollywood was focusing on the few seconds that these guys were pulling the trigger. And what we really wanted to do, the more I talked to these people, the more I realized they had to make a living for themselves in this environment for up to 5 years in the case of the World War II veterans. And how did they do with this on a day-to-day basis, but also, how did it affect them for the rest of their lives? I went on after those games, I went on to interview a bunch of British Sherman tank veterans and sort of chart their histories. And some of those guys, I was interviewing them when they were 80 years old. One of them just a couple weeks previous to the interview was telling a story to me about how he'd woke up on the floor and his wife was asking him, "What are you doing down there?" And he said, "I was trying to get out of the tank." And these are the guys that are 80 and it's still affecting them, that poignant, that sort of, scarring and experience. So really I wanted to sort of take a different look at combat games. How do we sort of tell people, rather than the Hollywood glitz of the hero never gets hurt, or we throw masses of people at the fray and don't even care about them, how do we develop that empathy? How do we really, wind up caring more about these people and, understanding the sacrifice they have to make?
Yeah, and I mean, I love war movies too, and it is not the Hollywood ones that are as good. It's the ones where you see the story behind the action, and not just the action.
The stories that are all about people, and Destiny's Sword is all about that. At its heart, it's a character story. It's about the development of these individuals in this, as you play through it, you're going to develop as a person and create your own story. So we're really looking forward to putting this game together and helping to sort of create a positive conversation about the true cost of conflict.
Yeah, and it's been great working on the stories with you, and that first comic we've just put out. I'm really excited to see that.
So there you are. So join us next time and we'll probably even talk about that comic.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for joining us.